Okay, so if you like the movie Back to the Future, then you may remember the opening scene uh, in Doc Brown's office has kind of all these unnecessary time automated contraptions that do basic household chores for Doc. My initial plan for this project was to recreate exactly uh, the time sensitive arm that reaches over, opens a can of dog food, then reaches with the can of dog food back towards a dog bowl, pours the dog food into the dog bowl, and then throws the can away. Well, that was my idea originally, and the thought after I gave it some contemplation of trying to figure out how to make a mechanical arm work, even that simply seemed like too daunting of a task um, for me. Uh, so what I instead did was you're gonna have to use your imagination here a little bit. So I instead imagined a contraption that's a time sensitive uh, dog feeder that involves no swinging arm that is reminiscent of the claw machines where you try to win a stuffed animal, but rather just a opening trap door, um, which would be tied particularly to this blue LED being on. Now, this green LED means that the entire system is on here. The 555 timer right here is what outputs to this blue LED, and the 555 timer is also being input from or being input into from this uh, op amp here. So what the op amp is going to do is it's going to use this light sensitive resistor right here. Sorry, this wire is in the way. It's going to use this light sensitive resistor right here to let the 555 timer know to reset. The output for this op amp is going from this op amp to their to the reset pin here. So that will be when that happens, you'll see this blue LED go off, implying that the system has closed its little trap door that would allow dry dog food to fall into a bowl. And this makes sense because if the bowl got filled past a certain point, it would block light from being able to reach maybe you could imagine maybe a clear plastic plate with this light sensitive resistor behind it. So green means that the entire system is actually running, as in that it's powered. So obviously if we unplug it from the power source, it's no longer being powered. Now, another thing is you'd have to imagine that this, because it kind of defeats the purpose to have to mess with it yourself every day, then you might as well just pour the dog food. Imagine that this push button is not a push button, rather, but something like an Arduino or some kind of simple embedded system that you could probably easily Google a type of program that would make it send a high voltage at a certain time of day. I'm sure some code to do that on an Arduino or an embed would be really easy to find, and you simply write the code for it, implement that code, and it would know, at 8 a.m. every day to send a high voltage, and then do it the next day and the next day, right? So I'm going to be pushing this, but imagine it's not me pushing this. Imagine it's an Arduino just giving it a high voltage. So this is the switch that sets the whole thing in motion. Here is this 555 timer outputting to this LED, which is implying that the system is active.